had memorized, the Good Morning Vietnam monologue at the beginning that was not to come out of the mouths of a 7-year-old.
Sure,
but Robin's sitting at the table, and Isaac unloads the entire speech on Robin.
Yeah.
And Robin's mouth is dropped. And he would be very quiet if you knew Robin well. Very quiet unless he was on. And when I was in Cape Town, South Africa, and I turned the corner on my way home from work, and I heard the news on the radio, I couldn't understand how that happened. I couldn't understand how Robin, whose talent and gifts were meteoric, and left me not even in the dust. I didn't even exist compared to what Robin's abilities in nature were. And yet we had somewhat of a similar life. We both performed, he in comedy, me with music.
Yeah.
We both were actors in plays and films and television.
Yeah.
And so we'd be on the road, and you finish your performance, and people would leap to their feet and say thank you. And before you get off stage and the lights go back to black, you are in it's over. You're gone. Then you usually go back to the hotel where the booker gave you the fucking presidential suite. You're all alone.
Right.
And you're just trying to get to the morning where you get back on the plane to go to the next place.
Eating candy from the minibar.
That's right. And my teacher that I met in 2006 worked hard with me. And I worked when that news came of Robin, I couldn't understand. But the work that he's done with me since 2006 and has changed my life is to stay with our discomfort. Period. Whatever it is.
Oh, I like to when I'm in discomfort. Not only do I stay with it, I make it worse generally.
Yeah, fuel the flames. But I believe deeply that it is a global epidemic of people not knowing how to do it. And by that, I mean this. And I use the two examples of one who was an acquaintance, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and one who was somebody that I was connected to. And yet those are just famous people. This happens to people every day. Because I couldn't understand how in those moments when he was trying to set up a chair and an ability to take his life, all the seconds that go in between that balancing act, how do you not have that 1 second to catch yourself that so many of us have been in so many times in our life and for over 30 years, and we get through it? How did you not get through it that one time? And so whether you want to use the word alcohol or drugs or it's an illness, none of that matters to me really, because what I believe is the missing thing for all of our lives and people all over the world is we're not taught how to be uncomfortable, meaning a little kid who falls and scrapes their knee. Mommy and daddy say, let me kiss it and make it go away. Don't make it go away. Kiss it's fine. Don't tell them it has to go away. So we spend our lives trying to fix everything. We fix it with a literal fix. We fix it with food. We fuck it away. We quit it away. We run it away. Nation states kill it away. And if Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Robin Williams, two of our greatest contributions to arts, humanity, to this life that we know, if they'd been, you can't have that kind of mind and not be aware. But even if you're overwhelmingly successful, it can be just as uncomfortable. And so you got to numb it.
Yeah, right. I mean, I get that, but like I think like, look, man, I mean, I am fortunate in that I don't believe that I am, clinically depressed. I suffer from profound dread and anxiety.
Right.
So, so when I have suicidal thoughts, it's really not because things are so miserable. It's just I need a break.
Right.
So I'm able to move through that generally.
Right.
It's anxiety based. So, but I think these people who are overly, in tuned and overly sensitive and can't you sort of find their way out from under it. I mean, well, with Philip, it was a horrible addiction. But with Robin, it was, a choice, from what I understand, around not wanting to live with a crippling disease. But still, the choice that you're talking about is a profound one. And it sounds like you have talked yourself out of this before.
Yeah, I mean, I've been dark. I'm certainly one person who said, I don't want to go through this, and the thing you don't want to go through is feeling pain. You want peace. Anybody
Right.
who does anything, all they want is peace of mind, peace. They just want peace. And who doesn't want peace? So we've all had a version of that. And I just say to myself and to anybody that I talk to on occasion, when the subject comes up, and forgive me for going into territory that may be inappropriate, but this is how I knew you. This connection to Robin from before, and then a friend said, about what happened in your life recently.
Yeah,
and I just I don't know. I just feel it's common ground that we share as humanity, and and it's a learning curve.
No, yeah, it's profoundly sad, and I try to, my choice to sort of be public about it was, to honor some of the stuff that you're saying, like I don't, my comedy and my work has always been from me engaged in the life I'm living. So I chose to sort of, share it. And, in that in and of itself, it's sort of what you're talking about about the hose, is that, when you're giving your heart or you're expressing your true feelings, there's a tremendous risk there. And the risk is not so much that you're going to be hurt. The risk is that, there's what's the return on it? And then you have to ask, well, why am I doing it? Am I looking for that? Am I doing it to experience people going like, oh, we love you. But even that's not enough generally. So what is it really? I mean, what have you come up with? I mean, I'm not one of those people that needs the love of an audience. That was never why I got into it. But I mean, when you say that the hose doesn't work inside, I mean, what have your conclusions around that, around your impetus to do this stuff?
It's not the adulation is its own drug that is as poisonous as drugs that kill you. It's a bottomless pit. If you go ego surfing, you'll never get enough, and you'll only find things that hurt you because you went looking, and
right.
And you'll find things that hurt you. So what I've come to think is why I do what I do and have done what I've done is for the structure of it, for what we've really just experienced in these past 9 months, a life without distraction. And the test of that existence without a distraction is pretty profound to relationships, to our own selves. And I think I'm not so in love with singing or acting or what it takes. I love the craft of the research, of the structure, of the taking the walks and coming up with possibilities that I'm looking for connective tissue that I can connect to, and how it just wastes my time in a way that John Lewis would say is good waste, good trouble, and uses up my energy and makes me feel like I've lived the day. And when I've now been through 9 months without it, I've come full circle to those 9 months ago and go, I don't need a break. I don't want to retire. I want to find a way to be in a room with my friends and make what new music we're going to do. How do we rebirth community getting together in the theater where people are, it's the last thing on the list of going to an environment, where you can sit in a room with other people and experience. And so how can I be a part of, is it a halfway house? Is it other spaces? People have all kinds of ways they're trying to come up with this. But that world gave me my life. And right now it's decimated. The article in Saturday's New York Times about, I forget the young lady's name, who's the violinist, the 52% of the arts community that isn't working at all, that lost everything. She had a good career with a whole year's bookings gone, along with millions of other people, in different forms of work and living on food stamps. And it's stunning that the restaurant industry versus 52% is only 12% affected, 12.5% affected, meaning they can still sustain the lifestyle that they've sort of designed. But the arts is just devastated.
Yeah, and people got to eat. People
got to eat, and what can we do who were given such gifts by look, in talking about this recently, I've realized. What is it that I'm missing? I'm missing being with my piano player and making the music, but that's not what I'm missing. I'm missing I just need one person in the room.
No, absolutely.
To listen. Just one person to laugh
to remember,
or to hear the music, to remember. And that one person makes what was a boring rehearsal into just a life.
No, I absolutely.
So how do we get those one persons?
I just did a movie. I was on a movie for 12 days with strict protocols, masks and everything. But it felt so good. Like, it was good. But it was like, I chose to take it. I'm alone. I'm sad. You know, they convinced me that it was going to be safe enough. And once I surrendered to it, I was so fucking grateful, Mandy, to be around people and to be doing the work. Just to, it's acting work is it's relatively new to me in terms of, figuring out how to do it and making choices and getting better at it. So you're right. You're absolutely right. How do we get back to that? Because it was scary. Everyone's in masks. It's not the fun kind of like collaborative community that it once was. Everyone's terrified, but you're making the shit. But like, let me ask you something. When you were starting out, I mean, how did you balance this idea of like, acting or singing? Like, were you always going to end in the musical theater? Was it always that, or was there a time where you're like, I'm going to make a choice?
Yeah, the singing thing was a no-brainer. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to go to Juilliard to learn how to sing. You just because everybody sang in the synagogue. Every little kid sang. Every old man sang. So that wasn't anything you had to work at. You just go to shul and there's nothing to do. But I wanted to become a classical actor, and somehow that evolved into go to a school that teaches you to become a classical actor. So I did that, but ironically, Juilliard, the famous music school, in the drama department where we were, there was no singing. Not a fucking note was sung. Just all tearing people apart and putting your heart on the table. And some teachers not know how to put it back in your body and zip up, your skin again.
But what does that mean? You were there? You went through the whole program? You didn't get singing. But you didn't get cut, and you learned the competition of that environment. Was it devastating? I mean, were there any positive lessons learned from that competitive nature of that place?
Not the competitive nature. The competitive nature, to this day, I feel is unnecessary. I do not feel that a school where you're either on scholarship or paying as a young person, that you should taste what real life has to offer down the road, and it's cutthroat, and get used to it. We're going to throw you out of the program where, you don't make the mark. Whatever. Bullshit. This is a time to be safe and cared for and kindness applied. The real world comes long enough to everybody, and we'll all get a taste of it. But I had the gift of Bill Hurt, William Hurt, whose name name will always be Bill to me, and the work we did together, and Gerald Friedman, my teacher, and Marion Seldes, and then also my two friends who were cut from the program, and one of them they each had a quality that I wanted in life. One, at 18 years old, spoke his mind to grown-ups, and I'd never seen a youthful person speak whatever he had to say without concern. And the other one had a kindness that I desperately wanted, and a vulnerability that he just was so beautiful. And I left the program after 2.5 years. We had 26 kids, I think, in our class. I think there was one guy left at the end of the 4-year program, and I think 6 or 7 women. All the rest of us left in my group. On
your own volition?
Yeah. I left. I wanted to leave after I was there for 5 minutes, and I waited because I didn't want to leave until I'd gotten whatever it was that I went for, and I didn't know what that was. And then I got to be with Gerald Friedman, who was a teacher we did the Duchess of Malfi, and he cast Bill and myself as Bosel and Ferdinand. We sat around a table, and he tried to teach us what an action was. And Bill was much smarter than me, and he could nail it right away. And I would write, long paragraphs instead of a single word. And Jerry would crumple them up. I had a mountain of crumpled up paper. And then later on in life, I would be at Sondheim's house and look on his piano, and there were postcards or scraps of paper, backs of envelopes with just lists of words looking for a rhyme, and going down to just find that one word, the vocabulary, the dialogue, the script of your life that is your connective tissue to connecting, just the word connecting. And then my brother-in-law, who's a Zen Buddhist monk, has a phrase in his monastery that is part of our family's belief system, which is our actions are the ground we walk on.
Yes.
And so that craft of learning to see if I could figure out an action.
Yeah, so wait, let me see. So you're the one